You already know that feeling. That tight chest in the morning before you even get out of bed. That low hum of anxiety that follows you through the day like a shadow you cannot shake. That moment at night when your body is exhausted but your mind refuses to stop. You lie there staring at the ceiling, replaying conversations, running through tomorrow's to-do list, wondering why you cannot just relax. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you are definitely not alone. Here's what nobody tells you. Stress is not just a feeling. It is a full-body emergency response that your nervous system is triggering, sometimes dozens of times a day, often for reasons that have nothing to do with actual danger. And if you do not understand why it is happening, you will keep trying to fix it the wrong way, and it will keep coming back. So let us change that right now. Before we go further, if you have been dealing with this for a while, the kind of stress that feels like it is woven into your identity now, like it is just who you are, we have put together some resources and programs linked down below in the video description that go much deeper than what we can cover here. People who felt exactly where you feel right now have used them to completely transform how they experience daily life. Do not scroll past them out of habit. That habit of dismissing things that could help is part of what keeps people stuck. Now let us get into this properly. Your brain has one primary job: keep you alive. It does not care about your happiness, it does not care about your career dreams or your relationships or how good you want to feel. It cares about survival. And to survive, it developed a system called the stress response, which scientists sometimes call fight, flight, or freeze. Here is how it works in the most simple way possible. Something happens, whether real or just a thought, and your brain interprets it as a threat. Instantly, your body floods with stress hormones. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tighten, your digestion slows down, your thinking becomes more reactive and less rational. Your body is preparing to either fight or run from a predator. That is what is happening inside you when your boss sends you a passive-aggressive email. That is what is happening when your phone buzzes and your stomach drops. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a lion and a difficult conversation. It treats both like a matter of life and death. Now here is the part that most people miss. This response was designed to be temporary. You run from the lion goes away, your body resets. But in modern life, the lion never goes away. There is always another email, another bill, another argument, another thing to worry about. So your body stays in that emergency state, day after day, week after week, month after month. And that is where the real damage begins. Chronic stress quietly destroys things. It raises your blood pressure. It weakens your immune system. Research has shown repeatedly that sustained psychological stress is one of the leading contributors to long-term health problems. Studies suggest that over 70% of doctor visits are linked in some way to stress-related conditions. That means most of the physical symptoms you might be experiencing, the headaches, the fatigue, the digestive issues, the tension in your shoulders, they may not be random. Your body is sending you a message. And then there is the mental cost. Chronic stress shrinks the part of your brain responsible for clear thinking and decision-making. It makes you more reactive, more irritable, more likely to say things you regret, more likely to make choices that feel urgent in the moment but hurt you long-term. You start operating from a place of constant low-grade fear, and you do not even realize it because it has become your normal. Think about how many hours of your week are spent in that anxious fog. Think about the relationships that suffer, the opportunities you cannot see clearly because your nervous system is always on edge. Think about the version of yourself you could be if that weight was lifted, even partially. That is not a fantasy. That is what actually happens when people address the root of their stress instead of just trying to manage the symptoms. And this is where it gets powerful. Neuroscience has shown us that the brain is not fixed. That is not just a motivational phrase. It is a documented biological reality called neuroplasticity. Your brain physically rewires itself based on what you consistently think, feel, and practice. That means stress patterns that have been running for years can actually be changed. The nervous system can be retrained. People who spent decades feeling anxious and overwhelmed have rebuilt their baseline state of calm through consistent, targeted practice. Not through willpower. Not through forcing yourself to think positive. Through understanding the actual mechanism and working with it instead of against it. Here is something worth sitting with. Most people treat stress like weather. Something that happens to them from the outside. They wait for their circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel better. They tell themselves they will relax after the project is done, after the kids are older, after things settle down. But things do not settle down. And if your nervous system is wired for stress, you will find something new to stress about the moment the old thing resolves. The pattern does not change until you change it from the inside. There are several core things that drive chronic stress in modern humans. The first is unmet needs and unexpressed emotions. When something feels wrong and you cannot name it or talk about it, it lives in your body as tension. The second is cognitive distortions, which are thought patterns that make threats feel bigger and more permanent than they actually are. Things like assuming the worst will happen, or believing that everything depends on you, or that making a mistake means you have failed entirely. The third is nervous system dysregulation, which means your baseline level of arousal is simply too high. Your body has forgotten what calm actually feels like, so it cannot return to it automatically. Each of these requires a different approach. And here is what the research consistently shows. The people who recover from chronic stress fastest are not the ones who try the hardest. They are the ones who work smarter. They get the right understanding, apply it consistently, and their results compound over time. People who have deliberately worked on their stress response report not just feeling calmer but thinking more clearly, sleeping more deeply, making better decisions, showing up differently in their relationships, and performing better professionally. This is not a soft benefit. That is a measurable return across every area of life. The cost of staying stressed is enormous when you actually add it up, in health, in time, in relationships, in missed opportunity. The investment in genuinely addressing it pays back in every direction. So what can you do starting right now? Start by noticing the signal. When you feel stressed, pause for 5 seconds and ask yourself what your brain thinks the threat is. Name it. This simple act of labeling activates your prefrontal cortex and begins to slow the stress response. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but brain imaging studies show that naming an emotion changes its intensity in measurable ways. Next, work on your breathing. Slow, extended exhales directly activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your body's built-in calming mechanism. A longer exhale than inhale sends a signal to your brain that the emergency is over. Even 2 minutes of this can shift your nervous system state. But these tools are entry points, not destinations. True transformation in this area requires going deeper, understanding your specific patterns, your triggers, the stories your brain has been telling you, and rebuilding from there with structure and guidance. That is exactly what we have built for you. Down below in the description, you will find programs that take everything you just learned and apply it in a way that creates lasting, real change. Not motivation that fades, actual rewiring. People who swore they were just anxious people by nature have come out the other side genuinely different. The ones who hesitate because they think it might not work for them are usually the ones who need it most. The only question is whether you will decide today is the day. Check the description, make the decision. Your nervous system has been waiting for this.